And we're live. Okay, so this has been the first week, as in the title, where I'm going from pretty much how you see me here, like nice and jolly, to going to the Boston Marathon, possibly. Well, at least if I don't get to ever go to the Boston Marathon, then a marathon. So, while I'm just trying to get everything to work, I'm just going to bring my guest in who's going to bounce off me today. Just bear with me. And here we go. Are you on mute or?
Of course, I'm on mute.
Right, so today we're going to be discussing all the stuff that's been going well and not so well, what can be learned and what to do going forward with this whole training thing. Just bear in mind, I am 250 pound and my BMI is just over borderline obese. No shame in that, but that's what I'm trying to get rid of. I do have to preface firstly that if anyone is trying to do anything like, or even just starting to exercise, please consult your doctor. Make sure that it's good for your health and it's safe for you to do. Discuss it with them first before doing anything, because the worst thing you want to do is break your neck, have any bones break, or the worst thing that can happen. So just putting that first, and please speak to a medical professional if you start wanting to do anything like this. That said, hello Bill.
Hello, Nigel, and hello, Virginia, our moderator, who's making sure that nobody gets out of hand. She's going to smack them.
Yes, she might be swamping the chat, but by God, she knows what she's doing. She's a warrior, and got to say thank you for making sure everything went smoothly today, as well as you, Bill. Okay, so firstly, what do you do, Bill? Just tell everyone what your channel's about.
Well, I do as little as possible. That's what I always tell people. But I have 9 channels. So I keep busy. I do 5 crazy things on every one of my lives, which is a lot of fun. And I have taken Virginia on as one of my many mentors, and she is the queen of shorts, and she keeps me going. So it helps.
Just to let everyone know, Bill and I have been talking about this marathon thing as well, and he's got a history in fitness too, so if there's any questions that come later that I can't answer, he might be able to help. But again, I do have to preface this with, we are not medical professionals, so again, with your own health, please speak to one before you do anything. This is just my experience, the experience of Bill and what he's done in his life, and what we can say to it, but it's not anything it's not us telling you what you have to do. Everyone's different.
But we can tell you what not to do.
Yeah.
We're well versed in that.
Yeah.
Because we've done it.
If you want to know how to muck everything up, trust me, we are the people to tell you about it. All right. So, I'm going to get to the actual weighing a little bit later on, because I want to build up to it. I'm just going to go through a couple of things which I found very interesting about the actual weighing, because Bill, I've told you I've used the app where it measures other things like how much fat you have and stuff. Not every day, but it's so far apart that you notice there's actually some kind of difference, right? Made sure my feet are all dry, and you'll take your advice. So what I found is the water levels in my body have shot right up. Now, obviously, when you drink loads of water in this kind of case, it's going to get rid of body salts, which takes off water weight, ironically. But if you're in a situation like me where you haven't really drank because I drink loads of soda and things like that, it's still going to raise your water weight. There's still going to be more of a presence, so that's still going to keep your weight on to a point. So that was interesting. Muscle levels, body muscle has gone up about a percentage, which is good because I'm working muscles that I don't usually work. Not exactly doing any kind of weightlifting, but it's still using muscles. And the visceral fat, which is basically the gut fat, which I want to get rid of, that has gone down. What you got to remember is as well, muscle mass is heavier than fat mass. Agreed? Cool. Yeah. In regards to starting your exercise, Bill, is there anything that people might what's the word? They might like, hang on, this might really affect still keeping the weight on that people might not think of?
Well, you could discuss plateau weights if you want to, or I could explain it if you want.
Would that be the weight where you lose so much, but then it kind of hits
Right.
when you lose loads of it? Really, yeah.
Everybody has two plateau weights, a lower plateau and an upper plateau, and in between those two plateaus, you go very fast. And let me see. The other thing is to remember that when you're at the plateau, even though it seems like you're doing nothing and you're not making progress, just remember that eventually at one day, you're going to break through that plateau. And what a lot of people make the mistake is when they're younger and they're in their 20s and they go, oh, Nigel, I can eat all I want and I never gain a pound. And all of a sudden, one weekend they go out and they're eating everything they want and they never gain a pound. All of a sudden their body just says, oh yeah. And they gain literally 4 or 5 pounds over a weekend. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. I actually have just spoken to someone not long ago who when I worked with a guy who was one of the skinniest wrenches you'll ever meet, and he's just hit I think 45, 46, and he's thickening out. It's becoming a sack of spuds. So yeah, it will always catch up to you. Just remember that.
And the other thing is with weight loss, it's a lot simpler than people think it is. I mean, yes, exercise, but the bottom line is if you consume less calories than you're burning, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't know how you'd think about this as a mindset. While I've been running, walking, whatever I'm doing, I'm not focusing on getting that weight down. I'm just focusing on the thing. Because if you're always thinking, what's my weight going to be? Like, if I do this, if I do this, if I do this, it's just going to cave in on you.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons.
And are you also keeping distracted while you're out exercising? Because I'm a real believer in that.
Yeah. The best way to, as far as I can see, to get through it is to absolutely take your mind off it completely. So it could be the case that you might talk to someone on the phone, or what I did was have a podcast. There's a really good one called Diary of a CEO that's on YouTube, and usually they tend to last somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half, with various guests, with various people who are the experts in the field, like in sleep and mental health and all that kind of stuff. Really thought-provoking. And what I find is, while the conversation is going on, you kind of lose perspective on time while you're walking, as opposed to have songs on, where you might think, even though you kind of like know the songs, you know one song's going to be like 5 minutes, another one's going to be 2 minutes long, another one's going to be 10, so you can kind of still track the time. And that's really dangerous, because you'll always be clock watching, and it's going to make it feel longer and longer, and you'll just want to give up by the end of it. If you have something that's just consistent and you just don't know when the end is actually coming, especially if you, it's always also best to listen to something that you haven't heard before, because you don't know when the end's going to be. So therefore, the distraction's going to be from right to the start to right to the end. You're not going to clock watch, because what I found is an hour feels like 5 minutes with that. It really does, because you just get lost in it. Just don't forget to, watch where you're going, not get killed or anything by oncoming traffic, and make sure you drink some water. But other than that, just go for it. Podcasts are the best thing since sliced bread with this, I feel. Bill, when you exercise or have exercise, etc., what do you do? Listen to?
I have a nightly exercise regime where I do 10 minutes on a treadmill before going to bed, and then 10 minutes, usually 10 to 30 minutes, depending on what I'm using for distraction. Because what I use for distraction, because I don't have to worry about falling over on a treadmill, because I have one with the handbars, and you really have to hold on to the handbars because it's a magnetic resistance treadmill.
Right.
And the resistance isn't always uniform. So you could fall over real easy if you're not holding on. And then with the Maxi Climber, you're holding on to that the whole time too. So you're not going to fall off. And I watch, what do I watch? I watch Amazon Prime, and I currently started watching a comedy series, dark comedy series called The Class of 07. It is very funny. If anybody owns Amazon Prime, check it out. It's really dark humor, though, just to let everybody know.
Good. I don't know if I told you. I recently got Galaxy earbuds, the second version of them. I mean, I go through like the Samsung ecosystem, so I'm just biased towards that, like people are biased with iPhones. One feature they have on them is ambient sound, so so as you listen to the music, you can still clearly hear what's going on around you, like trucks coming past you, other people trying to talk.
High tech.
Yeah. But the point is, you're not like, there's no vacuum or anything. Yeah. So if you're out in the sticks like I am, like country roads, you can hear things coming. Or if you're like on a treadmill, you can hear the doorbell. No one's trying to break into your home or anything, right? So yeah, really good for that. But what I'd suggest is, if you are going to be taking any music and you're going to be going outside to the road, I mean, I'm lucky enough to be in such a big property that I can literally loop the house, which I've shown Bill. But if you're going onto roads or anything, unless you really feel you need it, I would only wear the one earbud so you can hear stuff coming along. Agreed?
It's really kind of funny, because even though I have tinnitus, I can hear really well, even with these guys on. And yes, I if it was really busy or if I need to be alert, I just pull them out, and I am fairly alert with them on. But because I'm on the sidewalk, I'm semi-safe. I mean, living in a city, they don't think twice about turning into you while you're on the sidewalk. So yes, you do have to pay attention to those big gray things that have four wheels. They're pretty, you're going to lose every time if they decide to challenge you.
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm still alive right now is that I've never picked a fight with one, so yeah, that's a good thing.
I did once by accident. When I was 7 years old, I drove my bicycle into a car, and I did it again when I was a young ensign. I got clipped by one of those sport mirrors, hurt like a son of a gun. I thought I broke my arm.
Ouch. There's a saying, can't remember whether I told you, there's a saying in England, just go play with the traffic, when you're just telling someone to go away. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Used to be told that all the time when I was a kid. Okay, I'm just reading my notes. Have you ever heard of it? One thing, and I've made a point of writing down things that you wouldn't normally think about, but I think it makes a difference. Try not to carry anything in your pants pockets, because what I found is, especially when you wear either shorts or sweatpants, it's gonna pull them down, and also even if you're wearing a belt or something, it's going to really get in the way, because you're always thinking of trying to lift everything up while you're trying to walk, and it gets away from the actual walking. So especially with like bottles of water or anything, one thing I'd suggest is, if you got, especially if you're going for a really long walk or run, one thing I used to have when I did my last walkathon is what we call a platypus. So it's basically, and well, you can even do a makeshift one. Have your backpack, have like a plastic bag, not a supermarket bag, an actual sturdy bag of water. I can't remember what the actual proper word you'd use for it, and it has kind of a pipe so you can drink from it. Highly suggest those, because otherwise you're kind of like in one hand, then you go check your phone, and you kind of put it in your pocket, and then it's taken away from the actual walking and running. Trust me, it's such a small thing, but it helps. I put down know your stride. What I find is sometimes I just like stroll, but then I have to keep getting faster to get to where I feel comfortable. But don't try to go too fast, because you're just going to burn out too quickly. So there's always like a medium stride. Basically, you don't want to be going so slow that you're not really doing anything for yourself. You're not really like doing any exercise or anything, you're just taking a stroll. But don't be feeling that you got to go absolutely like proper power walking the whole day, because what will keep happening is you'll be going fast, and then your body just naturally slows down to an average pace anyway, and then you feel that later on you want to go quicker again, and it'll just like you go faster, slower, faster, slower. It's just a lot better for you to just keep that medium stride, and just know how fast is comfortable for you without going too slowly. So I'm just going through my notes one by one. We've covered pick something that will engage you, as in podcasts. If it is music, nothing against that. Just know I would honestly put stuff on random. Don't have anything in like a one by one playlist, because then you don't know how long everything could take before the end of the thing, so you're not clock watching. Talk about Galaxy earbuds. One thing, I think I mentioned this in my last live stream last week. I'm actually just ordered some, and I'm waiting for it to come in a couple of days. Double layer socks. Have you looked in any more into that, Bill? What are your thoughts on them?
No, not actually, because what we used to do is just get a silk pair and then another pair if we needed two pairs of socks. But I never really had much trouble with my socks, except for in hiking boots. In hiking boots, a lot of times I would get two pairs of socks, and then you buy your hiking boots a half a size larger than your normal foot size.
Okay, cool.
One of the things is with the hydration backpacks, I couldn't think of the word fast, because
yeah, I couldn't either. We just know them as platypuses.
It's like camelback.
That's it.
That's the word you were looking for, because the camelback hydration packs, I've been using them for years. As a matter of fact, I think I saved a Master Chief's life once, because we were out in probably 100, well, not even 100. It was like 95 out. It was pretty hot up in Camp Pendleton, and he didn't bring enough water. I did. Mine was nice and chilled. I said, "Here, Master Chief." He was all red, about ready to die of heat stroke. I said, I offered him water and he goes, no. And I go, no, you don't understand. We'll drink.
That's the other thing. When I've done walkathons in the past, I thought, I'm going to be a hero. I'm just going to push through it. I don't care. I don't really need that much water. I'm not that thirsty. Trust me, even if you're not that thirsty, drink. Best thing you can do.
Definitely.
Especially now that it's going to start getting warmer. I mean, in the hot, well, not hot, but I mean, it's still cold out there right now. I mean, you still get the cold winds, but when you get this really proper sun on your back, I mean, I had to take my fleece and everything off at the time, but I easily went through 2 bottles of water just on an hour's run. Whereas normally it's just 1 water. But yeah, water, hugely important, even if you don't feel thirsty. Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying was double layer socks. There's a load of brands. You can look it up on Amazon. There's probably gonna be 100 million YouTube videos about them. So basically, thinner layer, but 1 layer of the sock hooks onto your actual foot and the other one slides on it, so there's absolutely 0 friction on your foot, and it's anti-blister. I've worn them before. I actually used to test them out for a business that sold them, and we went on I think it was a 6-hour hike. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And usually I'm a bugger for them. An hour, well, not an hour, maybe an hour or 2, and my feet are sore. With these things, nada. One of the best things you can get, especially if you can get waterproof ones in the cold weather. Okay, so one thing I found was because, and I know this might be kind of a weird I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I'll just get into it. So one thing I'm going to be using to go onto the marathon, at least to get me started, is Couch to 5K. And again, before I get into what this is, see a doctor before you even think about starting it, because it could be something where it sounds good on paper, but you might do a day of it and you've probably pulled every muscle in your foot or your leg, and it might really hurt you more than you think it's doing good. So please speak to a doctor before you even try anything like this. So that said, what Couch to 5K is that it gradually puts running into your walking. So the past week I've literally just been walking, and I think it was yesterday I'd done an alternation between 60 seconds of jogging, and 90 seconds of walking, so that you do the burn and then you warm down a little bit and then you do the burn again. I think about 6 or 7 times before the thing's over. It lasts about half an hour, and it suggests that you do it 3 times a week. I'll be doing it in between walking, so I'll do a day of Couch 5K, a day of walking, and the rest of the day I'll just be resting, because that's the biggest thing also you need to do is, as much as the exercise is great, you're actually building the muscle and looking after your body incidentally by the actual rest that you get. That's just as important. So what it's going to do, every week it'll introduce more and more and more running, until I think it's after about 3 months that you should theoretically, again, speak to a doctor, that you should be reasonably capable of 5K. You won't really know until you do an actual running course of a proper 5K run, but it should get you in the vicinity, assuming it's done right and it's done safely. Anyway, my point is, when I started doing these runs or jogging, no matter how much walking I did, and I do an hour every single day, it didn't prepare me. So as good as you feel that you might, running like on the ground, not necessarily jogging on the spot, but actual proper running, it's a killer if you're just doing it right from the start. I had a few weak spots, as in food, drink. We did go out to have some, like, I mean, not hugely, not a huge thing, but there was some like chicken tacos every so often. There were a couple of treats, but I think for the first week it didn't go too badly. The only other last notes we kind of hit upon anyway, but with the water, what I found is I did actually do a sneak peek during the week, and I didn't actually lose any until, say, about the third or fourth day, where it just went right down. Because for some reason, I've never had this before. I don't know whether you've had it, Bill, or whether you know anyone who's testified to this, but my body just held on to the water for dear life. And then, say, day 3 or 4, it was Niagara Falls the whole day.
Yeah, and Nigel, just like I told you on the phone, that's dangerous.
Right. But I don't know why it happened. So I've done exactly the same thing in the past, and it's the first time it's happened.
Yeah,
Not a clue why.
All the more reason.
Okay. Message taken. Anyway, where
I got
are
some
we?
questions if you want.
Yeah.
If you want, have you, how much are you actually using this couch potato to 5K?
Couch to 5K. I'm doing it. I'm doing to what it's recommending, 3 days a week.
Oh, okay. So 3 days a week you're doing your exercise, or every day?
I'm still doing the walk every morning, but say Monday I do couch to 5K. Tuesday I just walk. Then Wednesday couch to 5K. That way, spreading it out.
Are you doing their because they have a, let's see, 16 weeks is what, 4 months, the 4-month training program that they have outlined for
I believe they say 90 days, so they say 3 months, but I'm going to guess it's going to take a bit longer than that for me.
Well, maybe I looked at the wrong section, but it said 16 weeks on the website.
Okay.
Also, do you do high knees at all?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And
I do high knees, and I basically work my arms.
And have you been like looking to get resistance bands? I didn't have a whole bunch of time because everybody exercises different ways, but it looks like they have a lot of warm-up exercises. And are you doing the 5-minute warm-ups that they're talking about that you need to be doing?
Not the ones that they suggested, but I am trying to do sit-ups, like 30 seconds of planking. Not every day, but every few days.
Here's the difference between getting a bad ankle sprain or just you tripped and you fell. And that is stretching and doing a proper 5-minute warm-up. So I highly recommend stretching your ankles, stretching your calves, stretching everything, because it'll save you in the future, not if you fall, but when you fall, because you will fall sometime during the next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I have quite frequently in the last couple of years. Anyway, go on.
So, and the other thing that a lot of people don't know about falls, because, from wrestling, from skiing, from growing up in the Northeast where you have nothing but ice and snow, is the real secret to falling is going with it. Don't try to stop it. Just roll with it. And what distance should, yeah. Do you know what distance a runner should work up to for a marathon? What type of workout distance should they do? Just out of curiosity.
I thought it was supposed to be 5K. You're going to tell me something different, aren't you?
It's 5K for a 5K, but you're working up for the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, I don't honestly know. I haven't got that far in it yet.
what it is 26.3 miles is what you should be working up to.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that's length of the thing. I thought you meant
No, they're talking about, because I did go. I'm pretty fast at research and stuff, and
nice.
they're saying that you need to be. Your workout should be eventually a workout where you're actually running that much.
Yeah, they've also, I believe, said you should be able to do it in about 3 hours.
No.
Or
3
have I
hours
just
3 hours you would be in first place. Well, close to first place. They
right?
just
That
had
then
somebody
I
break
probably got it wrong,
out.
and I probably just saw first, second, and third
Yeah.
place somewhere.
It
Yeah,
could be 3 hours maybe for a first time runner for a 10K.
right.
That's reasonable. And the last, oh yeah, I did ask about warming up, because warming up, I just wanted to, that was one thing that we missed when we were talking about doing the exercise routine, is that warming up, stretching, being prepared for any exercise routine is critical,
Right. Oh, trust me, I can testify to that. When I did the walkathon, the first week back, well, I didn't even go back to work. I was out for a week because I didn't do the stretches, and that was the first time I did it. Then, even with stretches, it got down to a couple of days off, but that was planned because you're obviously going to have the recovery time. And even then, I was still walking like a cripple, right? But
yeah.
it was workable.
I have to confess, my friend Jeff and I, when we were 15 and we did the 21-mile marathon, well, not marathon, walkathon, same type of thing, but we decided we were going to run it.
Mm-hmm.
It took us both 2 weeks each to recover. It was the same type of deal. I mean, we thought we were cripples. I mean, you can't walk. It's driving me crazy.
I thought, have I just permanently injured myself? Do I have to find a work at home job or it? Yeah, and it just seemed to go on forever.
It does.
The only other thing I kind of actually wanted to ask you was short of tornado and hurricane, is there any kind of weather to avoid? Obviously high winds, and when it gets down to minus 11, what you said about breathing in and it freezes your lungs, obviously not that type of weather, but I've been walking with rain this week and it's been fine. Is that safe?
Actually, you can go out running in that. I told you about the freezing cold weather, but there actually are people that do that. But what they do is they wear a mask over their face so that their breath is getting warmed up when they breathe in. And no, there's no weather that you really need to avoid. Black ice, you need to avoid that because you might fall down, but you're not going to have ice this time of year, thank God. And the biggest thing about weather is being prepared for it. It's same thing with the marathon. Although with the marathon, it's going to be a lot of prep. And one of the things I was going to talk about is, or suggest to you, is that you find somebody that's done the Boston Marathon and see if they'll coach you.
Yeah.
Or help, or at least help you. Buy them a couple of beers or something. It's a cheap way to find out a lot about the marathon.
Right. Okay. One thing that I tried when it comes to high winds, you have it here, I think, as well. Vaseline, petroleum jelly. Put it on your lips.
Yeah, we have
and
it.
That will, if you put it on your lips, that will, so you don't get blisters because it's still friction from the wind. And if you're out there doing exercise for a prolonged amount of time, trust me, I got them when I first started prepping for the walkathon. All this was completely covered.
And one other thing about Vaseline, I first a caveat. I was a marathon canoeer. I didn't do marathon running at all. I don't like to
Right.
run. I think that if we were meant to run, we would have been born with hoofs. But other than that, with the Vaseline, I had a coworker that was a runner, and I've heard of actually putting Vaseline in the nether regions to make sure that you don't get too much friction down there too.
Yeah, chafing
while you're running.
Yeah. People keep telling me to use talcum powder, but because it's like a solid, it's not like lubricant. I never took any stock in that.
And the other problem with talcum powder is it's a carcinogen,
which is
it'll give you cancer.
Right.
if you breathe it in, and there's been a lot of claims about it, it's better to use cornstarch instead of talcum powder if you're going to use something for down in your gym shorts.
Right. Okay. Right, so with that said, if there's nothing else, I can tell you how much I weigh now.
Cool. Everybody, do you have a drum roll thing?
You know, I was just about to say that, and I don't. I need to get a free one.
Melon does.
I need to get a free one because if I download it from Artlist, you know, all these things can be copyrighted, even a freaking drum roll. I need to find it.
I was thinking of offering to use my keynote audio, keyframe audio, and but the thing is, the problem is this is your channel, not mine, and so even if I used my music on your channel, you'd still get a strike for it.
Yeah. It's a nightmare the way it works.
The thing,
anyway,
you know, if you get just 2 seconds, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Drum roll. So started off at 250.1 pounds. I'm now at 244.3.
Oh.
And that is on day 9.
Right.
So that's about £6 in 9 days. You wouldn't have thought that's dramatic, but it's a start. Again, I'm not too overly focused on the weight. Right. Just trying to get muscle, diet, and all that sorted first. After the 2nd or 3rd week, maybe, I might, because all the water weight would have come off, and hopefully my face would have thinned out a little bit by then. Then get on. Then I'll be kind of looking at the weight, but right now, just make sure it's safe. But yeah, 6-ish pound in 9 days.
Yeah.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Once a week, that's the ticket. Because if you do it once a week, then you're not thinking about it all the time. But if you go and say, okay, I'll do it twice a week, next thing you know, you're right back to, oh geez, I'll weigh myself in the morning, I'll weigh myself in the afternoon.
Yeah. No, I've done that before, and literally I weighed myself after every time I ate, every time I went to the bathroom, everything, and just no way to go. I'm going to get my wife to punish me if I go anywhere near that weight, the scales, anytime in a week. It's going to be once only, and that's going to be a Wednesday.
You'll break the habit. It takes 30 days to develop a habit, and a good habit, and it takes 1 to 2 days to break it.
I think what I might do, I'll get her to take it with her to work in the car, so I don't even have the chance.
That works. Or just give her the batteries.
All right, I think that's about it. Anything else you can think of that might be useful or no?
You already talked about shoes. When you bought your shoes, did you actually use the shoes that they recommended on that website, or go with your favorite brand?
It's mostly a money thing, so I've had to use the sneakers that I have. But they're still decent running shoes. I mean, the decent Nikes that I mean, they were given to me, and I think that was like $100 or something. And
Right.
like I've looked into them, that they feel really good. There's no anything rubbing. I put I think the word's orthopedic. I put insoles in them to make sure, and they're gel, and they're really comfy. So as far as my feet are concerned, when I go out, I mean, other than like the first day or so, I don't feel anything in them. There's no blisters. I don't feel weird in them. And because of the gel and everything, it would have been a case where, again, because I'm going over like grass and things like that, the ground can get really lumpy, and that can really start to hurt. With this, nothing.
Well,
The only,
that's why I advocate a hard orthotic,
yeah,
which helps. It helps on that stuff.
oh yeah. But yeah, the only other change I'd actually make to my current footwear right now is to get those double layer socks. Just literally only thing. I mean, I think they're like I think I paid like $10 for like one pair. I mean, it's expensive for them, but my God, it'll be worth it.
And I apologize to Virginia in advance, because I just realized she's been trying to get me to ask you, and I've been, I was supposed to ask you in the beginning, but have you thought about getting sponsors? I mean, this is a big undertaking. This is going to be expensive in the long run.
Honestly, I'm very wary of doing that until I definitely know I've hit through a barrier and I can do it.
But here's the thing, is if you get sponsors, it'll give you incentive to go through the barrier. Just an idea, we're no pressure.
Many things in my life I've started and not really followed through with it. So it's one of those things where I'm cautiously optimistic. But I don't want it to be the case where, oh yeah, sponsor me, give me like $1 million or whatever charity and all that kind of stuff, where 5 weeks down the line I just can't be bothered. I want to get past the doubting phase.
Yeah,
because I have them. By the way, these are the Nikes.
Oh, those are beautiful running shoes. Yeah,
those
will work. You can actually now you have insoles to those things, right?
I've taken them out right now because I've just washed them, but like I've had to put some water over them. But yeah, these are just the shoes. They're really, really thick anyway. Like really is that thick inside.
Because for like $10-15, oh man, my glue on this. For $10 or $15, you can get these, and that will level up your game a little bit. And the problem with the orthotics is also that neoprene in the front can wear out after a long period of time. Although this one doesn't have neoprene.
Well, I haven't tried it out before, but it's why I want to get gel ones.
I was not happy with gel. On gel, if you do gel that has an actual support to it, that's great. But if you do like a gel insole, usually they don't, like my the Skechers, they actually come with gel. They come with gel memory foam. I'm sorry, memory foam. So I'm confusing memory foam with gel. But they both do the same thing. They move, they squish out of the way, and they move, and it's not really good support for your foot, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody else that says, "Oh, this is the best thing since peanut butter," And you know why peanut butter got invented?
Sorry?
Do you know why peanut butter got invented?
Not a clue.
It was invented by, I think it was I know it was a doctor, but I think he also was an endocrinologist. I'm not sure. But he invented it so that people that had bad teeth could get protein. So Have that peanut butter.
Never knew that. I just keep drinking Guinness because it was something they used during the war as food. That's my excuse anyway.
Oh,
Do
it's
have
really
one.
good for training.
I do have one last bonus. I mean, this is kind of a comic relief type of thing, but I do have one last bonus tip as far as what you don't do on runs. Bear with me because we've got a piece of footwear I want to show off.
Is that your flip flop?
Nope, even better than that. What you don't want to do, because one time I done not necessarily like a 5k or anything, but there was a walk around our Birmingham city centre where we did like costume and stuff. What you don't want to do is wear something like this.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah,
Those are impressive.
they're new rocks. £200 I paid for those years ago.
They're beautiful. That 21-mile marathon.
Yeah.
They didn't have Nikes back then, and I was
Really?
in Puma flats with no support whatsoever.
When you say didn't have Nikes, did Nike exist, or is it the fact that you just didn't have them?
Didn't exist.
Huh.
I'm that old.
I'm saying now.
I think I am. When did Nike? I'm going to go look at that just a second. I could be wrong, and I will be again.
You're only as old as the person you're feeling.
"1964. I'm wrong. Promptly admitted."
Right. I'm going to leave it there, unless there's anything else.
Thank
Cool.
you for having me.
And thank you for coming on, Virginia. Thank you for keeping the chat going. The hundreds of messages you put up. She said, shout out to the replay crew. Yeah. So.
Replay.
Yeah. If you want to hear a couple of old guys just ramble on a bit, then please watch this for an hour or so. But yeah, lost about £6 in 9 days for the first week. Have lost a bit more than that before in the past, so but then I was a bit younger then. But I would preface this with also, you might be really excited for the first couple of weeks, but then the water weight will come off, and when it slows down, please do not be put down by that. It's just natural, and just don't overdo it. Make sure you go see a doctor, because they'll know the best thing for you. Everyone is different. What might work for me may not work for you, or vice versa. So there's loads of different factors that you need to take in before you even start something like this. So please be safe, because it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark. Bye.